We are continuing our project and our seminar Libraries as the Game Changers for the Local Social Resilience and Democracy in Times of Security Challenges. And this word, democracy, will be the key word for our next pair of presentations. And as a first from this presentation block will be V.Vasilica, as with her presentation, Libraries Democracy Resource Center. And Victoria works as Management and Institutional Development Coordinator at Association of Librarians from the Republic of Moldova. So please, Victoria.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I am very glad to be here today, as well as the partnership with the Association of Librarians from the Republic of Moldova within this project necessary in this context. My topic for my presentation will be libraries as resource centers for the democracy. Democracies need libraries because an informed citizen who expresses himself in the spirit of critical thinking is an element of materialization of this form of government. If a free society wants to leave historical traces, it must ensure the conservation of its heritage, obviously also the written one, and ensure open and unlimited access to this information for citizens. A democracy ensures that its citizens have the necessary resources to develop informational, digital, and media skills to participate in the democratic process. Unrestricted dialogue, thank you. Freedom of expression, access to information possible within libraries amplifies its role for the development of democracy. For example, access to newspapers and magazines in any community allows the citizen to monitor the activity of these elected officials. Lately, the role of library as a communication platform has been emphasized between community members, between members of civil society, or between citizens and civil society. Regardless of the actors of communication, the library provides the citizen with a secure space for information and communication. The library provides the citizen with in this uncertain time, it is important that the man, women, citizen, user feels free and safe. Libraries ensure the freedom to read, see, communicate, but also participate. Since the middle of 19th century, the library was the place where citizens were educated in democratic conduct. This symbiotic relationship between libraries and democracy is sometimes celebrated, especially when advocacy or lobbying campaigns organized in support of libraries as librarians produce results. Franklin Roosevelt saw democracy as an opportunity for everyone to participate in all aspects of society. Let's transpose this idea into what the library is about today in the Republic of Moldova. What types of services it offers to the community, or what types of skills it is constantly developing. These are some pictures from several libraries in the Republic of Moldova these days. Since one have not seen a quest as the library since 1960 year, or maybe from 2014 year, it was during the Novateka reform and the mass equipping of libraries in the Republic of Moldova with computers. It also happens in 2002 year when the library is in in support of the government, in support of the energy vulnerability informational project initiated by the government in these difficult moments for citizens, but also for the security of the country in general. The library has an important role in supporting democratic participation by educating and raising an informed citizen and the spirit of critical thinking, informed consumers of information. In exemplifying this thesis, I can mention the effort made by the Association of Librarians from the Republic of Moldova and its partners in the formation and consolidation of a network of librarian trainers in media education throughout the country. On the first day of the outbreak of the war in Ukraine, February 24, the message promoted by the Librarians Association to the trainers in the network was "Let's identify and report fake news. We are living an informational war. Let's help to stop it." It was difficult because of so many promoted fakes, but after a few days, we felt the ventilation of the Facebook page walls, and she rejoiced that we are stronger together and when everything is possible. Modern democracy cannot be considered without new technologies. Disagreement between new and old is always present, just like dissensions between parents and the children. We have been talking for years about the battle between the internet and the library, about the prioritization of the book in traditional format or the one in electronic format. In fact, the differences are only in the formats. In the migration of services and publications from the physical spaces to the online one. The internet has given a voice to everyone who has devices or can afford them. But what happens to those who cannot afford the innovations and technologies remain outside of freedom of expressions? No, of course, because the role of leveling these technological inegalities falls to libraries. So the library is also the place at the intersection of new and old, one of the cornerstones of democracy. Periodically, the Public Policy Institute from the Republic of Moldova, conducts the national survey, the barometer of public opinion. The subject of the conducted research includes political options, the popularity and notoriety of the main political parties and personalities, the standard of living and the quality of life, the economic and social policy of the government. Other topics are major interest. According to the results of the last survey carried out in 2021 year, 49.1% of respondents consider the family's income to be enough for the bare necessities. So we cannot discuss the procurement of modern devices. Access to truthful information has always been one of the library's prerogatives. That's why it was necessary to invent format and platform for distribution and access to information and documentation. In this context, information and documentation centers are part the next to libraries. The interest of international organization to create information and documentation centers next to libraries is absolutely understandable. Access to communities, especially rural ones, usually happens through libraries. And in the year after the library reform, when every field was depoliticized and it was claimed victoriously that we got of subordination to Moscow in our field to the Lenin Union Library, the politicization and the ideologizing or library activity. But this freedom came with other concerns. Conceptualization of conceptual, organizational, methodical, and managerial solution and recommendation. Librarians had to develop concepts and solutions by themselves. This responsibility was taken over by the National Library of the Republic of Moldova, which rethink its activity, but also permanently developed activity methodologies of library centers until today. This practice developed and strengthened a national library system. With the depoliticization of the collections on the scrapping of the copies in the Russian language, there was a need to replace them. For this reason, the massive creation of Romanian book branches in the district libraries has begun. Thus, 1996 year, there were 16 Romanian books branches. This means collection of new books in Romanian are booked from across the Prut and the twinning of libraries between them. Of course, these are elements in providing public access to depoliticized and truthful information. Their number increased later. In the years 2001 to 2002 years in the Republic of Moldova, the informational program expansion of services for beneficiaries of public libraries was carried out. As a result of this program, several information and documentation centers appear in the region equipped with information and communication technologies. Ungheni, Bălți, Cahul, Iedine, Țorhei, and Chișinău. Similarly, in 2001 year, the first and only library with specialized collections in the legal field was opened, offering instant electronic reference service for the first time for the Republic of Moldova, another step towards the democratization of access to information. Then, 10 years later, over a period of from a decade, 2010 year, 2020 year, public libraries in the Republic of Moldova benefited from the Novateca program, which brought not only information technologies to libraries, but also training for librarians, information campaigns, and advocacy in support of libraries. As we know, an important step towards the democratization of society is the respect of human rights, and the equal rights to information is one of them. Equipping libraries which technologies has facilitated access to digital content, allowed access to open access database, and reduced acquisition costs. We are currently living in days when the term public service is very current for libraries. Librarians are urged to run their institutions like our own business, but librarians are not businessmen. They do not see the library as a business. Librarians have a mission that of guaranteeing access to information and education in perspective. Librarians are professionals in searching, selecting, and disseminating. In order to capture the image of the community, we don't have to show them how nice we are, because it shows nor how smart we are, because people realize what we are. The challenge is to show them how useful and important we are to their lives and the work day to every day. We need to make them understand that we librarians are representatives of a dynamic profession fighting for the right to know. Libraries are important as institution of culture and education, in the consolidation of democracy as a form of government. And I have not convinced you. Please remember Lenin Library's wife as the enthusiasm which Mussolini, Ministry of Education, approved approach by which he put education and the cultural institutions of the service of the regime. So what is important is the vector we approve. And at the moment in the Republic of Moldova, it is towards democracy. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Victoria. Do we have any online questions? Still no. I would still urge the viewers at home to ask some questions. So I would pose a question here. You talked about different kinds of work about democratic processes and events. What age group or demographic group would you say is the easiest to work with about these democratic processes in Moldova, and which is maybe the toughest?
O să răspund în română cu ajutorul traducerii. Desigur că cele mai vulnerabile grupuri în Republica Moldova sunt grupurile din mediul rural și în acest context vreau să menționez că în mediul rural, în Republica Moldova, biblioteca a rămas practic unica instituție de cultură care cumva are în grijă atât activitatea culturală a localității, cât și tot felul de activități pentru comunitate.
So I would mention that the most vulnerable groups with whom the National Library is working with are the librarians from the local rural communities, where the library is actually the only cultural institution left in that community, and they take care of everything which is related to culture and
Asociația Bibliotecarilor din Republica Moldova este puternică anume prin reprezentativitatea pe care o are, prin faptul că în oricare comunitate există un bibliotecar, membru ABRM, care are în grijă să disemineze misiunea, viziunea și programele asociației.
The Association of Librarians is strong, especially through the network of librarians who are present in every single locality from the Republic of Moldova. And these librarians are in charge of disseminating the role and the goal of the association. Victoria, întrebarea era care sunt grupurile cu care lucrați cel mai ușor și care sunt grupurile cu care lucrați mai greu.
Ziceam despre asta, că spectrul este foarte larg și încercăm, asta ne ajută, că avem o rețea foarte puternică și lucrăm cu toate grupurile unde există necesitate.
So, having a very strong network of librarians, we actually work with every single group of citizens.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Applause to Victoria.